I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Governing Board Special Election Committee. I believe we have a quorum. 6, so we have a quorum. And moving on to the minutes of the October 31st meeting, do we have any additions, corrections, changes? If not, then I'll move that they be accepted as written. Agenda. All right. So our next item on the agenda is our final review of the candidate packet. And this was split off from the petitioner's packet that we went over last month. This will be given to the candidates after they have been verified to be a candidate for the board in January. So since I was not involved in splitting this off and the editing and so forth, from those who were on the previous committee, do you see anything that needs to be updated or changed?
Hello.
Okay, then we'll accept it as written. Okay. All right. So right now we have 11 packets were picked up for the March election. We did have one person back out for personal reasons. Only one so far has turned in their packet and for their signatures, and they've been verified, so we only have one candidate. I urge everybody to quickly as possible to get your signatures in so they can be verified. We wouldn't want to have all 9 or 8 of them come in on the same day, then that's going to delay the verification. And we're still encouraging, there's still time to take out a packet for anybody who's interested in running. We're getting slowed down because they have to be in by January 2nd, and getting signatures this time of the year may be difficult, but we are encouraging more people if you're interested in running for board. So I'm going to go over the timeline for the March election. As everybody knows, on November 1, packets were picked up, and on January 2nd, they need to be turned in, plus your 500-word bio. For those of you who have never submitted one before, make it more what you've done for Sun City West or in Sun City West, or in the past, like with other associations, what role you've played and what you've done in that. That's what people are more interested in. They don't care that when you were 18 years old, you were, a Boy Scout or something like that. After the candidates have been verified by January 5th, then we're going to have candidate training on January 18th, and Luann will be leading that. On February 1st, everything is certified, and is that, Katie, when you start your PR campaign?
Yeah, it goes in for the February issue.
Okay. Yeah. And then we're having a candidate forum on March 6th, and that's in the morning from 9 to 11 a.m. And then on March 13th, we're having the meet and greet with the candidates, and that's from 6:30 to 8:30. And then March, excuse me. On March 18th, we're having online voting begins. March 21st, online voting ends. And on March 25th is Election Day from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then the announcer announced the results will be told at between 3 and 3:30 on that date. So that's our schedule for the regular board election. Do we have any questions? Okay. All right. We don't have any new business right now. We'll move to committee comments. I did want to say regarding the recall election that this committee, our only role is to work at the Data Resource Center at the library on Election Day to help facilitate people coming in to vote. And I am personally, along with Karen, are responsible for dealing with any shut-ins who would require a ballot. The 2019 election, I think, is the last time we had a regular election, and at that time we had like 2 people who requested shut-in ballots. So do we have any questions from other any comments from any other members of the committee? Marcia? Right, thank you, I appreciate that. Ann?
No comments.
Okay, Luann?
I just would like to also encourage people to pick up packets and seriously consider running for the position. I would just love nothing more than to have a real election. So I encourage.
All right. Do we have any comments from the audience? Yeah. Go up to the microphone, please. State your name and your rec card number. The one on the right over here. Yeah.
My name is Hugh Martin. My number is 122481. And I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask. Is that a green light? Who will be overseeing the special election committee?
I don't understand what you mean by overseeing.
Well, is it a committee that operates?
We're the special election committee.
And no one oversees what you're doing? You just are a committee that acts alone without any interference from anyone else?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well,
We're bound by the bylaws and policies, and that's how the elections are held.
so in other words, you're free to act on your own. No one is telling you what to do or how to handle the situation whatsoever?
It's all spelled out in the bylaws.
Okay. So I don't know what the bylaws are. I just want to know whether you're an independent committee or not.
Well, we're not puppets. Yeah, we're appointed by the governing board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who is the contact person for the committee to ask questions of? Is it Roberta, yourself, or is it
It's
someone
Katie.
from the management?
It's Katie.
It's Katie. Will that be an ongoing assignment for Katie? There seems to be some confusion as to whom is going to be that person. Some think that it's going to be Karen R., and others think it's going to be Katie O. So I'm just questioning, who is going to be the consistent person?
Yeah, so it is a little confusing. I handle the IT portion of it and the public relations portion of it. Because there was a lot of requests on this particular, if you're talking about the recall, any PR, like I said, public-facing questions I would handle. If it's something about where you can campaign, where you can collect signatures, that would be Karen. So Karen handles all the candidate training and that sort of thing.
Thank you. I'm told, and I'm not familiar, I've lived here for over 10 years, and I've really tried to stay away from the operation of this organization because I've been very disappointed for actually 11 years now. But there's a concern that this recall initiative, it differs from the last recall initiative. There are changes that have been made on this recall that are not consistent with what they were in the past. For example, in the past one, I've been informed that the governing board members was not privileged to any response to his recall. So are the individuals who are currently subject to a recall, are they allowed to respond to any of this?
That's beyond the purview of this committee.
I'm sorry?
That's beyond the purview of this committee.
Whose purview is it then?
It's in our bylaws and policies.
Well, once again, I'm not familiar with those bylaws. It's just a simple question.
They're on board docs.
Pardon?
They're on board docs. They have been there for as long as I've lived in Sun City West, and they switched to board docs.
Well, the essence of that is that there's a concern that none of the employees from the rec center, Sun City West, will be involved in this process.
It's owner members that vote.
And is it only members who control the committee?
Well, we're all owner members.
Right. But there's no interference from management, in other words.
I don't know what you mean by interference.
You don't know what interference means?
Well, I know what interference means. I just don't know what you mean. We just follow the process that's outlined in the bylaws for conducting the election. And we're up there on election day helping check people in and to help them get on a computer and vote. And that's all we do.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, but I'm wondering, what does the management do? Does the management in any way influence what you people do, or are you independent from the management? In other words, this should be a membership initiative. The management is not involved in this.
It is.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Who will be present at the in-person voting?
As I mentioned, the committee.
Okay. No one else?
Well, recall people, if you're talking about the recall, they can have representatives. It's in our bylaws who can be there.
Roberta, we need to clarify that. We can't have anybody other than the committee and staff in the actual voting area, because that would be voter intimidation to have, people standing over people's shoulders while they're voting.
Well,
It says in the bylaws.
the concern is that this recall process is in no way involved with the management of this place. It's independent of the management. That's the way it should be. This should be conducted and overseen simply by members of the Sun City West membership group.
Well, we do need IT staff there.
Pardon me?
We do need IT staff at the election in case we should have any technical difficulties.
Well, will there be any management people there? like the general manager and his immediate team?
Not that I know of.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Katie will be there because she's IT.
Yeah, we clarified that earlier on.
Okay.
She's going to be the contact person, but the concern that people have is that the management will somehow or other be involved in a process that they feel very strongly is not their concern.
Nobody except our we're using the outside vendor again, right?
Yeah, we're following the exact same process we used since we instituted online voting in 2017. So nothing has changed there.
Okay, well, the allegation is that this recall process differs from the last one. And I can't clarify that, but there are others who can and have informed me of that. So that's a concern that people have, and I just want you to be aware of it. Thank you very much.
Did you sign in? Sir, they want you to sign.
First time. Rookie.
Good morning, Connie Kopf, 129963, and I have a simple question. I have a question about collecting signatures on the petitions. We know there are rules. Could you please clarify what would constitute a violation, what kind of proof you would be looking for? Would it disqualify the candidate? And what would the process be? Well, I thought it was simple.
Yeah. Well, I know in the past, people have been inside club rooms getting signatures, and they've been turned in by other people saying they shouldn't have been doing there, and I believe those petitions are thrown out and not counted as
Okay,
part.
so the petition, that particular sheet would be thrown out. Would there be a warning to the prospective candidate, or would that be a disqualification?
So this would be Karen's area, and I don't want to speak too far into
Okay.
it, but my understanding is that Karen would receive a complaint, she would discuss it with Roberta and decide what the repercussions would be. In most cases, it's lack of understanding because everyone's new at this.
Right.
So there's probably a warning thing. If it was something that was malicious happening over and over again, I would imagine they would take that to another level, but it would just depend on, the circumstance.
Okay, thanks, Katie.
Yeah, what I understand, they need to send an email or something in writing signed by the person making the allegation against the person getting the signatures.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lou Mancuso. Excuse me. My questions are in regard 115-104. I have a few questions. This gentleman asked a question, and I don't think he really got an answer. And that is, since I was the governing board member who was recalled in the last recall election, I requested specifically from Ms. O'Grady if I could put any information into any publications that are under the auspices of the rec center. And I was told that I could not. And of course, I have that in writing when Katie responded to me. If you recall correctly, there was something in the comments after I was paraphrased and not quoted regarding outside people using rec center clubs. So I asked specifically if, in fact, I could make a response in publications under the auspices of the rec center. And I was specifically told, no, I could not. Why has that changed? Why can the recall committees put information in publications that are under the auspices of Sun City West, and that would be electronic media, printed media, Facebook, et cetera.
So the Rec Centers Defends This Association, right? Sun City West has a public image. We are going to counter anything that is false about this association in any of our publications, and we do that on an ongoing basis. We are not taking a stance on one director, another director, who to vote for, any of that. That is our job. We are here to protect the association. If there's false information out there, we will counter that. In no way have we given any group on either side of this issue space in our publications. Us writing about the association and clarifying things that are wrong out there is our job. We're not giving either side, like I said, space or time. That said, should we want to, we are not a public broadcasting situation. Those rules for fair space, equal time deal with the FCC and the limited spectrum of radio broadcasting, of TV broadcasting. It doesn't have anything to do with a private association.
Well, my retort to that is on the allegations on my recall, one specifically that comes to mind is that was regarding Hillcrest, and they didn't have their own water source. So that information was incorrect. They have a well on, I don't know the exact address, but right here in town. So that being said, once again, because that allegation was false, why wasn't I permission to make a response in any Sun City West publication? And we can dance around the issue all you want. The fact of the
Point
matter
of
is,
order, please.
the fact,
This is an elections committee meeting, and we are not involved in the recall. Therefore, recall should not be discussed at this meeting. That's for another platform. So I say that we need to dispense with any more recall questions. We are not here to address them.
well, may
As
I
I
ask,
mentioned, our only job is to work on the election day.
well then, may I ask this last question? And that is, who does the recall committee go to for information and for questions?
Katie is the point of contact.
And that is for IT and Karen for all others? Is that what I understood?
So I'm IT and PR. Karen has to do with the candidates and the regulations. I will say, from my understanding, it's been a little unclear. My understanding is you are part of that current recall committee.
That is correct.
You've reached out to our attorney. It's a legal matter, and we're not going to discuss it further, and I relayed that to the other organizers on your recall committee.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other comments from any audience members? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.